If someone were to contact us to ask if they may have had an injury caused by a medical professional, the way that we work is that either you can telephone us or contact us and we will contact you. We can have video calls with you if it's easier. You're more than happy to come into the office, or we can, in some circumstances, come and see you at your home. The discussions are, I stress, no obligation and no charge to you, because we believe that we have to get that information from you to find out whether or not there is something that we can help you with. And, you know, we may appear to be a little bit nosy, and it's not because we're prying into your private life or anything like that, but it is a case of trying to get as much information as possible. Once we've taken the initial details and checked that you are the right person to make the claim, if you're making a claim on behalf of somebody else, for example, the next stage would be for you to speak to one of the solicitors to then discuss and go through the funding and how the matter would be investigated. So we would discuss with you as to whether you have any private household insurance, which may have what we call before the event insurance. And if you don't, then you may have other funding arrangements if you're part of a trade union, for example. But if nothing else like that exists, then we would obviously discuss a conditional fee agreement, which is a no-win, no-fee agreement with insurance attached to that if appropriate. Once we are happy, and you are happy more importantly, and want to pursue the claim, the next stage would be for us to obtain all of your medical records. And again, it's not us prying or being nosy, but we need all of your records so that we can look at those records and see if anything jumps out to us. Not that we're medically qualified, but having done this now for a long time, we tend to think that we are medically qualified. But also to see if something does jump out from the medical records, to say, well, that doesn't look right, but to check that we are given everything, and to see whether there's anything else perhaps in your medical history that may have an impact on what you are telling us has happened to you. Once we're happy that we have all of your medical records, then we would get them sorted and numbered by a nurse, just to make sure really that nothing is missing, and so that they look really nice for when we then are ready to send them to our medical expert. So the next stage would be to send all of the records and your statement and information to a medical expert, and it is that particular expert who steps into the shoes of your treating doctor, nurse, whoever it may be, and they have to look at the case, look at the records, look at what you say, and they are there really for the court, not for us. They are independent, and they have to step into those shoes and say whether or not the care given to you fell below an acceptable standard, and if it did you suffer harm or damage as a result of that failure? Once we have their report, and we may need several experts to help us answer those questions, but once we have that expert opinion, the next stage would be for us to obviously consider the report. And even in some cases where the report may come back and say, look, we really don't think something has gone wrong here. It's not a case of us saying, right, thanks a lot, off you go. It's a case then of us saying, let's look at it. Let's see if there are any further questions from here. But hopefully, fundamentally, what you will obtain is an explanation of what may have happened to you. If we obtain a report, and sometimes for us it's harder when we obtain a report that actually says, you know, something has gone wrong here, and this person may have suffered unnecessarily, or sadly a person may have died as a result of something that has gone wrong, then we would sit down obviously with you and go through that report, and we may need to bring a barrister involved at this stage to discuss matters with you and the medical experts. But then we should be in a position to put our case to the other side, and it will then be for the other side to investigate that case within certain time limits. and then for them to come back to us to say, are they going to accept that claim? Do they accept part of it? Or do they not accept the claim? In which case then, in each of those scenarios, there's different routes that we then need to take to investigate the claim further, or to advise, well, the next stage may be to start court proceedings. But each and every step is discussed with you, and nobody is going to force anyone into doing anything that they do not want to. It is our job to explain things properly and to explain things in detail so that you can make an informed decision about whether or not you want to take that next stage in the case.